Hello, and welcome to Around the Political World with John Rothman. I am your host, John Rothman. If you're a fan of the show, make sure to hit the follow button on the top right of Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you are listening at this very moment. When you hit follow, leave a review or share an episode with a friend. It helps other people discover the show, keeps us going, and as I like to remind you each and every day, it expands our base. It is January 20th, the celebration of freedom in America, the orderly transition of power, and yes, the symbolic aspects and the practical aspects of the power of the presidency are all on display today. Let's talk about what Joe Biden did on his last full day as president, up to now, because he has a few more hours as president. He issued pardons, that's right, pardons, to Dr. Anthony Fauci, a great national hero in the minds of many, and a villain in the minds and hearts of others. Anthony Fauci, who served his country so nobly and who we all listened to very carefully, had to accept a pardon because there was a fear that he would be persecuted by Donald Trump and his administration. And General Milley, the former chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, a genuine American hero, compelled to accept a pardon because of his fear that he might be prosecuted or persecuted by the Trump administration. And the members of the January 6th committee and all those involved in that process now have accepted pardons as well. Some, like Adam Schiff, vigorously objected, but in the end, the fear of Donald Trump compelled those members, including Liz Cheney, to accept a presidential pardon. It is a significant moment in American political history. The idea that an outgoing president would issue pardons in order to protect people who have served the United States of America. And you'll note I've used a differentiation, prosecution and persecution. And yet, one of the things we know is that the power of the president to pardon and the power of the president to make policy is, well, very clear. And so Donald John Trump will be inaugurated as the 47th President of the United States. I'll be listening carefully to his inaugural address and the executive orders, which he says he is going to sign the minute he takes the oath of office. Over 100 executive orders, we are told. Remember, this is the same Donald Trump who really did not like the idea of executive orders and who wanted Congress to act, but he's going to do it. He's going to issue these orders. He's going to issue an order to drill, baby drill. That's right, he wants more oil. And, of course, he is going to issue orders on tariffs. And Canada and Mexico are waiting with anticipation, as is China and the rest of the world. And we know that he intends to pardon the January 6th defendants, even those who pled guilty. And we have to see how extensive that is. Will it include those who attacked police officers? We don't know. He's talking about an executive order on birthright citizenship. I don't think an executive order will make any difference at all. It would require a constitutional amendment to change the 14th Amendment, Section 3. And, of course, perhaps most critically for many, mass deportations. We are told by Donald Trump and by members of his incoming administration that those deportations will begin immediately. There is no doubt that there is a difference between being president of the United States with one point of view and being president of the United States with another point of view. And so, my friends, we are going to watch as Donald Trump and Joe Biden and their wives roll down Pennsylvania Avenue for the inauguration, which will take place at the Capitol. The reason it's inside, as all of you know, is because of the bitter cold that is sweeping the East. Not since Ronald Reagan's inauguration in 1985 have we seen an inaugural ceremony transferred indoors from outdoors. But it was the right decision to make, given the intensely cold weather which has struck Washington, D.C. But today is a very important day. We know that January 20th symbolizes much to many. We know that on this day, Americans witness an orderly transition of power. Okay, we didn't 4 years ago in the sense of what happened on January 6th, but we're seeing it today. Even though Trump and Biden are political enemies, they are going to together celebrate the American experience. I am reminded of my old friend Newton Davis Lott, who wrote a book called The Inaugural Addresses of America's Presidents, later reissued in 3 editions as The Presidents Speak. It is a celebration of what presidents say and do on Inauguration Day. I love reading presidential inaugural speeches. It was my intent today to read you some selections of some of the most important addresses. Of course, we don't have time for that. We have only about 10 minutes, and I try to crunch a lot of stuff in, as you know. But let me remind you that Abraham Lincoln, in his second inaugural address, talked about binding up the nation's wounds, of trying to create a sense that we are one nation. My sense today is that that is not where we are in terms of our own politics in 2025. We are a nation deeply divided. There are people who are saddened to see Joe Biden leave, and there are people who are rejoicing at Donald Trump's ascension to power. In the end, the next week is going to be fascinating. Donald Trump has promised that he will fill his campaign pledges. We all wait with anticipation to see what he will do, how he will do it, and what the nuances will be. The important element here, the most important lesson is who we choose to be our president matters. You and I know that whether it has to do with domestic affairs or foreign affairs, whether it has to do with climate change, well, best example, Donald Trump says he's going to withdraw from the Paris Accords for a second time. Joe Biden put us right back in when he took office. There are real issues that we are going to face, including Ukraine, the Middle East, what we do about China. So many issues on the table. And Donald Trump has promised that he will address these issues as he articulated them in his campaign. We are now going to see whether or not the American presidency as an institution will go through all of these tremendous moves which Donald Trump is anticipating that he will do. And so we, the American people, are going to have to wait now for a few more hours to see what Donald Trump will do. I do want to make an observation about executive orders. Donald Trump is going to exercise the levers of power in this administration in a far more effective way than he did in his first administration. He now understands power, and he understands where the power is and how to exercise it. And so we are in for a fascinating ride. That's right, it is a ride into history. And we, right here, around the political world with John Rothman, are going to record with you and speak to you every day about what these changes are in the world. It is today a celebration of freedom. It is also a time of renewal and change. The words of John F. Kennedy, delivered on January 20th, 1961, ring as true today as they have ever rung before. And so, my friends, that's what I have to say for today. Like you, in just a couple of hours, I will be tuning in to hear the inaugural address of America's 47th president. It will be important for us and for the world. And what Donald Trump does following the inauguration with all the actions he intends to take, well, it's the beginning of what I think will be a fascinating, very controversial 4 years. I am John Rothman. Thanks for tuning into another episode of Around the Political World. Make sure to follow along. Let me know your thoughts on the show by leaving a review on Apple Podcasts and sharing an episode with a friend or colleague so we can continue to grow and expand. Of course, you can let me know what you think on LinkedIn, on Facebook, and by emailing me. And a special thanks to Gogo Zoger. You are indispensable, Gogo. Thank you so much. You make Around the Political World with John Rothman possible. This is John Rothman. I will be back tomorrow, and I can hardly wait. See you then.